Welcome back to 7 News, and joining us now is West Virginia Governor Jim Justice, who is in town today to kick off the Streetscape project in Wheeling, but also to speak with the voters about an amendment that will be on their ballots on Election Day in really just over a month. Governor, thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much, Kathryn. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So let's begin with Amendment 2. So for those who are unfamiliar out there, this issue will appear on the ballots in the Mountain State this November. Voters can either show their support or say no. So under this amendment, 27% of West Virginia's personal property taxes would be controlled by the state legislature. So Governor Justice, you've come out and said you are against this amendment. Tell us why.
Well, because first and foremost, it takes all the control away from the counties. And basically, I can't say it any more simpler than just this. If I were to say to you, give me your wallet, give me all your money out of your wallet, and give me all the money that continues to come into your wallet, and what I'm going to do as a politician in Charleston, I'm going to promise to give it back. And really, at the end of the day, if that promise is not fulfilled, then things get hurt really bad, whether it be EMS or school boards or schools rather, policemen, firemen, whatever it may be, services in the county. And I really believe that local control is absolutely the best. Our people know what the right thing is to do. And Charleston can get just cluttered up with being a swamp with lobbyists and everything else under the sun. Amendment 2 will benefit, at the end of the day, big corporations, and it leaves the hardworking people of West Virginia standing there holding the bag.
So that's what I wanted to ask you about next. We saw a presentation by, I believe it was the Manufacturers Association in West Virginia, who say they are for this because it helps with development. But on the other hand, I guess you're saying that if we bring these new developments here, that's great, but if we don't have the basic services to support people moving here for those jobs, is it worth them coming here to fulfill those jobs?
What's the guarantee that people are going to come? What's the guarantee that development is going to come? I mean, people come to my office nonstop and everything. I have had business after business after business, and we've brought a lot of them here. Not one has asked me, said, I'll come if we get rid of the inventory machinery tax in West Virginia. Zero have asked me that. At the end of the day, what really happens is, sure, the manufacturers are behind it. A lot of the manufacturers are great big giant companies that are from out of state. It would really help my business a tremendous amount. I would benefit to the tune of millions of dollars, but that's not what I'm supposed to do. It will not help the working families, and we're having no problem whatsoever recruiting and bringing businesses to West Virginia today. You see what's happening every day. And so literally, I think it is just I've tried to work, I've tried to negotiate. The people don't understand. Amendment 2, a lot of people think, well, that's about guns. Well, it doesn't have anything whatsoever to do about guns, but it's probably been couched that way to get people to vote that way. From the standpoint of the car tax, well, all that is just a bone that we're throwing people to get their vote. Get their vote so Charleston can have complete control of your destiny and everything, and it's the wrong thing to do.
Now, we saw another presentation by, I believe it was the West Virginia Center for Budget and Policy. They estimated about $190 million in public education funding would go away if Amendment 2 passes. Now, also, I would imagine, given the state of what's been going on the last several years with the education system in West Virginia and with the teachers, that's probably another reason I would think that you would feel that Amendment 2 is not a good idea, to take more money away from our public schools.
Well, look, at the end of the day, in the first state of the state from Jim Justice, when this state was dead level bankrupt as it can be, I said, we've got to put education as our centerpiece. Why did I say that? Because we needed to get on a pathway of changing our image from being that backward state to being the state that was poor and everything, and do something about education. We can't afford to be taking dollars out of public school today. We need to be trying to help every way we possibly can, whether it be public or private or whatever it may be. But it's just absolutely driven, again, by just this. How do you think Amendment 2 has come into being? Amendment 2 came into being because the manufacturers want a tax break, a big-time tax break, and they've got big-time money. And so basically then what happens is that goes into the hands of the delegates or the senators or whomever it may be, and then you get on a pathway of the swamp, D.C., just I am going to stand rock solid with the people. I've done it forever. I've told the people nothing but the truth while I've been in office. I don't want anything. And all that being said, at the end of the day, the people don't understand what they're about to vote for. And that's dangerous.
We've heard a lot from counties across West Virginia, and it seems like the number one thing that they are worried about is that if Amendment 2 passes and they loses this money, there's no other plan for them to make up that money in their budget. So that being said, is there any way, like if there was another plan to make up that money, that you could turn around and support this? Or is there any compromise to be had on this issue from your administration?
Well, first of all, there is no other plan. I mean, and the other thing, if you believe that things are always going to be great in West Virginia, then you know, you believe in Rainbow Bright and Peter Pan being your parents. I mean, you know, but at the end of the day, if we stub our toe in any way, the only thing that can come out of this is cuts. You know, whether it be cuts in services to the counties, because Charleston will not be able to fulfill your dream, okay? Now with that being said, you know, as we go forward, the other thing that it will do, it locks down and it makes it absolutely impossible to ever get rid of your personal income tax in West Virginia. And really that is the appeal beyond belief. It is the proven methodology in state after state. All the states that surround us have a lesser income tax. If we were to get on a pathway of getting rid of our income tax in West Virginia, and we can do it today, if we were to get on that pathway, it would drive growth, it would help our workers, it would put so much money back into the pockets of hardworking West Virginians, it's unbelievable. And we just want to turn our nose up to that, and this would be the death sentence to that.
That was the next thing we were going to ask you about, so we'll transition to that since you alluded to it. You were talking to the crowd in Center Market today about your plan to reduce the state's personal income tax. Now, I believe right now the initial proposal was by 10%, and I had heard you say as well that eventually you want to get rid of it altogether. So just kind of elaborate on that for West Virginians who are listening, why this is beneficial, and I guess how that plan moves forward.
Well, all you have to do is look at just this, where we are geographically located. I mean, all the states that have no income tax, the population will have to drive through us to get to them, whether it be Tennessee, Florida, you know, Texas, whatever. South Carolina's on a pathway of doing this. Mississippi's on a pathway of doing this. Literally today, we can do this today. Now, with all that being said, you know, it will take a, maybe not years and years and years, but it will take a few years to get it completely eradicated. But if people on the outside believe that we're going to do that, people come here, people move. You know, it is phenomenal, the growth of these states that I'm referring to versus, and West Virginia needs growth. We need growth really bad. And the bottom line of the whole thing is it will be our internal stimulus package. I mean, because it just continues to renew. People have more money in their pocket. Well, people have more money in their pocket, they spend money in West Virginia. And so it truly is not sending our money out of state to a big corporation. I think we've just got to be really smart. It's really risky what we're embarking on, and this Amendment 2 is monstrously important.
So I've read in things that you said that about $254 million would be going back into West Virginians' pockets with that income tax reduction. So we looked at some of the numbers that your office had released and things like that. So essentially, you know, the more you pay in that personal income tax, the more you would get back. So with that system, are you confident then that that plan is really helping the people that maybe need that little bit of a break most?
It is. I mean, now, we can do more to help people, you know, that are struggling and having a tough end. My original plan a year ago was to do tax rebates to people that weren't even paying income taxes. This is a comprehensive plan that needs to be discussed at length with all the leadership, Senate, House, whatever it may be, and get to a solution to be able to really genuinely do that. Today, that 10% is just really a way to combat people that are really suffering from the inflation situation that's going on and get money right back in our taxpayers' hands tomorrow, okay? You know, from the standpoint of what we're embarking upon, and that's why I go back to that, the embarking upon this Amendment 2 will forevermore shut down the possibility of progressing and going forward with that. At the end of the day, it is a big plan with big dreams, but nobody would have ever, and I'd use an old slang word, nobody would have ever thunk it that West Virginia would have the ability to be able to get rid of their personal income tax. I didn't think it was possible years ago, but now, with us embarking upon incredible surpluses and all the great stuff that we've done, now's our time. Now's our time, and I don't want us to just close the door on it and miss. I mean, this would be like standing there with a tennis racket and somebody throwing a watermelon and you just whiff it. I mean, we don't need to whiff this one.
So you mentioned it would take a lot of conversations, everybody coming together. Is that something then that you think needs to wait until the next legislative session? Have you thought about calling another special session? I mean, I think when people hear this, they kind of want to know, what's the time frame? What would you ideally hope, or when would you ideally hope that those conversations would happen?
Tomorrow. In all honesty, I have said over and over in our briefings, our COVID briefings, that this is a discussion that is incredibly important to the state of West Virginia, to our people. Our people don't understand, and they surely don't understand the liability of voting for Amendment 2. Today, all we are channeled, you talk tunnel vision, I mean, it is mega tunnel vision that's going on right now. But all we're thinking about is Amendment 2, pass Amendment 2, put all of your eggs in Charleston's hands. And just to tell it like it is, our legislature voted for that. And many, many, many of our House and many of our Senate members really didn't realize the magnitude of what we were voting for at the time. A lot of those people feel differently today. And really and truly, I think if they had stepped back and everything and have another opportunity, another bite at the apple, it may be a lot different outcome. But at the end of the day, it's just as simple as I just cannot see how putting all your eggs in a Charleston basket and really just depending on it to all the good in the world to happen. I mean, I hate to say it, but in this area, Charleston doesn't know in a lot of ways you exist. You're so far away, it's unbelievable. And when you got that swamp going on down there and all the lobbyists, everybody doing everything, passing money here and there and all that kind of stuff, bad things can happen.
So I know you like a good sports reference, so I'll phrase it this way. Whose court is the ball in? Is it in West Virginians' hands to vote down Amendment 2 first? Is it in the legislature's hands to start these conversations about not only Amendment 2, but the personal income tax? Or is it in your hands to make the pass to the legislature and say, hey, let's start these conversations?
Well, for any legislature that is out there now, I have said this 50,000 times. I want to negotiate. I want us to work together. Tomorrow, if you said to me, let's get rid of the car tax and let's initiate a real initiative to get rid of our personal income tax, I'm in. I'm in right now. Absolutely though, our voters don't need to be hoodwinked, and they won't be at the end of the day if people get out and tell them really what's going on. But absolutely, they don't need to get their vote bought in order to get rid of their car tax and just seal West Virginia to slip back into where we were and maybe have all kinds of problems. But with all that being said, Amendment 2 is running full steam ahead here on November the 8th. And if we don't stop that, we're going to absolutely have a great big problem doing anything else.
Well, Governor, one more thing before you go. Let's have a little bit of fun. You just announced that the Mountain State is bidding to host the 2024 Olympic diving trials. This would be, for those of you who haven't heard, at the Aquatic Center at Milan Park in Morgantown. So why should they pick West Virginia? Or why not, right?
No, the question is just that, is why not pick West Virginia? I mean, the facility is spectacular beyond belief. And we've already housed, or done a whole bunch of stuff there. And really and truly, for the Olympic trials to be here in West Virginia, wouldn't that be neat? Wouldn't it really be unbelievable? And when it all's said and done, there's been so many situations that have happened, over and over and over. Can you just imagine really and truly the growth of tourism in the state of West Virginia? So many different things are happening all around us, and people are coming and looking at West Virginia with these big giant companies and everything that never looked before. But really, when it really boils right down to it and everything, The right question is, why not West Virginia? Instead of why would they pick West Virginia? You know, at the end of the day, I mean, there's no place better than West Virginia. I mean, really, if you look at just how great you are and how incredibly beautiful your smile and all the wonderful warmth of this great area in Wheeling, and 4 beautiful seasons beyond belief, 2/3 of the population within a rock's throw, natural resources that are just the best of the best. And beyond coal and oil and gas, you've got timber, water, all kinds of different things. But the best people on the planet, that's why they ought to be here. That's all there is to it.
So whoever may be listening that makes those decisions, you heard the governor. Pick West Virginia, right?
Amen. Amen.
Well, Governor, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you in Wheeling, and thank you for answering all of our questions.
No, thank you so much for having me.
And as always, be sure to stay with 7 News and WTRF.com as we continue to bring you updates both from Charleston and, of course, on election night for the results of the vote on Amendment 2. 7 News will be right back after this.